Bill, second reading.
This bill is set down for committee stage next sitting day. Call on Government Order of the Day number 3.
Accident Compensation Amendment Bill, second reading.
Madam Speaker.
I call the Honourable Peeni Henare.
Tēnā koe, Madam Speaker. I move that the Accident Compensation Amendment Bill be now read a second time. Madam Speaker, I thank the members of the Education and Workforce Committee for their work and consideration of this important bill. I would also like to note the work of the Honourable Michael Woodhouse as the previous Minister for ACC. Many of the policy proposals that are in this bill were developed and worked on during his term as a Minister, and I think that deserves recognition. I would also like, Madam Speaker, to thank those who made the submissions on the bill. Madam Speaker, alongside the submissions on the proposed amendments, many submitters shared their very personal experiences of the scheme and the Accident Compensation Corporation. I thank those submitters for taking the time and making the effort to share their often deeply personal experiences with the Select Committee. Madam Speaker, we have directed officials to take those submissions into consideration in the course of their work to improve the scheme. New Zealand's no-fault accident compensation scheme has been a source of national pride, and this government is committed to ensuring that the accident compensation scheme remains fair, transparent and accessible for all claimants. Overwhelmingly, Madam Speaker, people who are injured receive an excellent service from ACC in terms of their treatment and their rehabilitation. As such, the bill makes a series of changes to boundaries rather than at the core of the scheme. First, this bill addresses a gap in ACC coverage for families of employees who are posted overseas in the course of their employment. I believe this is a vital change to make, as we do not want to discourage people from representing New Zealand's interests abroad because of concern about the medical coverage for their families. The bill also amends the interface between weekly compensation and superannuation to provide for fairer transitions for those people who are injured close to retirement age. The change means that people will be able to receive up to 2 years of weekly compensation and superannuation before transitioning on to superannuation. Madam Speaker, this will provide a fairer, more consistent relationship between weekly compensation and superannuation to provide for fairer transitions for those people who are injured near the end of their working life. It is important to remember that treatment and rehabilitation does not cease based on age. The amendments to the interface between weekly compensation and superannuation align with our commitment to review the restrictions on superannuitants being able to receive both weekly compensation and New Zealand superannuation. This is particularly vital given the changing nature of work for the over 65 workforce and in providing security for those who have contributed to New Zealand society over the course of their lives. One of the amendments relating to this interface addresses the declaration of inconsistency by the Human Rights Review Tribunal that the requirement to elect between weekly compensation and superannuation was discriminatory on the basis of age. The amendment in the bill will mean that a client's entitlement to weekly compensation as a surviving spouse or partner will no longer be affected by whether they are also receiving weekly compensation. Most surviving spouses or partners, including those of superannuation qualification age or older, will be entitled to a maximum of 5 years of weekly compensation based on their deceased spouse's or partner's earnings at the time of the fatal injury. Madam Speaker, I am pleased to be introducing this important amendment which ensures consistency and fairness between the entitlements received by surviving spouses regardless of their age. One change recommended at the Select Committee stage, Madam Speaker, was to insert a new commencement timing of 1 July 2019 for the amendments relating to the interface between weekly compensation and New Zealand superannuation and veterans' pension. This change is for funding purposes. The bill disestablishes the historic Accident Compensation Appeal Authority as it is no longer cost-effective or efficient to maintain it, given the low number of appeals to the authority. This reflects the government's intention to remove the complexity in costs that can arise as to whether the authority or the district court should hear an appeal. The change will mean that all new appeals under the repealed acts will be heard by the district court, which will ensure that claimants' rights are maintained throughout the process. I've also included in the bill some minor and technical amendments that will increase ACC's operational efficiency and improve processes for the biennial levy rounds. It is important that we take these opportunities for regulatory maintenance to ensure the effectiveness and efficiency of regulatory systems into the future. In closing, Madam Speaker, this government is proud to work towards creating more equitable outcomes within the accident compensation scheme framework. Madam Speaker, it is a vital component in our social contract, and we look forward to improving outcomes for all New Zealanders into the future. Madam Speaker, I commend this bill to the House.
E te mana whakawa.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. I call the Honourable Tim McIndoe.
Kia ora, Madam Speaker.